What's up there, Metal Summoners? It is so great to see you guys. We appreciate you guys always rocking out with us, having a little bit of fun, and just always being down for the cause and stuff like that. So we really, really appreciate you guys. Hey, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this because our guy Brad Lee is calling in right now.
Wow. He lives?
What's up there, Mr. Brad Lee? Welcome to the Metal Summit. What's up, dude? What's up?
Hey, technology. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm calling you about Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, they just.
I've been in the truck all day.
What's up?
I've been in the truck all day. I forgot it was Wednesday, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, no worries at all, man. No worries.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, Brad. We got Psycho Steve. We got Angel. We got the great Brad Lee on. Yeah, because we were talking a little bit earlier about events that like TMS and stuff are gonna be at, and we had mentioned Fan Jam on a previous interview. So yeah, we got they just announced Jeff Jarrett for the event.
Yeah, man. Tito Santana, Jeff Jarrett, Nikita Kola, Kurt Angle, Mickey James. Like, everything's really shaping up. So, who knew?
Absolutely. No, it's going to be a good one, man.
Well, I'm in the truck on the way home, man. I'm sorry to catch you on the show, man, but
dude,
just wanted to check if you saw that, man.
I sure did. Absolutely, brother. Yeah, man. No worries at all, dude. For sure. I'll let you get home safely. I'll jump back on with the guys. But I talked with Angie the other day too. And if the weather stays all right, she said it was cool to come over a little bit after you got home from work, and we could catch the Rumble.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on a little bit late. I know it starts at 2, which is weird as shit to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it starts at 2, but we'll tune in a little bit later. I should probably, assuming that the weather stays clear, I should be done probably around 4-ish.
Sweet.
So yeah, any time around that time is good for me.
Perfect, dude. Yeah, I usually get home around that same time because I'll be working brunch that day, and so I'll get home around that time, just kind of get changed up, grab up babes, and we'll head your way as long as the weather's looking good.
All right, sounds good, man. We'll touch base sometime Saturday. All right, look forward to seeing you both.
Absolutely.
Have a good night. Get everybody on Metal Summit.
You too, man. Absolutely will. Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
All right, later. Because you never know who's going to call or what's going to happen on the Metal Summit. But anyway, Metal Summoners, we appreciate you guys. We love you. And thank you so much for supporting the show. We had a great conversation with Kieran earlier where we're trying to get in contact with Lonnie to see what happens. You guys know that it's rock and roll. That's just kind of what happens. We are still in contact with him. We're going to get him on the show as soon as we can tonight. If it turns out that it's not really working out, don't sweat it. It's all good because we will absolutely have him on the show. So we're going to talk a little bit about current events. And right before we went on to the air, we talked a little bit about our individual appearances on our last episode, but we're going to talk about a current event coming up that we haven't really broken down too heavily yet. Angel and I brushed over it a little bit on a previous episode. But Psycho Steve, you were not present for said conversation, but you are present for said conversation now. Let's talk a little bit about M3 for this year. So comes up in a couple of months. Obviously, it's the beginning of May, as all of the Metal Summoners are very accustomed to, as well as just fans in general. It's been scaled back again to one day, which is kind of how it started out originally. But it's got like a pre-party on Friday night with Quiet Riot, and then it's got like a post-party event on Sunday night with Steven Adler. But it's an overall relatively solid lineup. I think it's a solid lineup, but it definitely has that kind of mix and match quality. So before Angel brings in on this, Steve, I posed this question to you. How are you looking at M3 right now? We've got Tom Kiefer, we've got Queensryche as your headliners, but then they've got a band like Buck Cherry on there.
Well, I'm glad they're bringing some of the. I can't call Buck Cherry new, but
Right.
newer than most of the bands that are performing. Because Buck Cherry, let's say they what about 10 years old, 15 years old?
They're like 25 years old actually. Their first
Really?
album in the late 90s.
Really that long? Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I was never good at math. I'm a bad Jew.
Yeah. Yeah, they came out in the middle of the pussy era with the boy bands.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I think it's cool they have that. I'm quite shocked that they're scaling down. I think they are because they have gotten badly burned in the last several years because of the weather and turnout, and it sucks for New Breed and Eric Breaker's company. I only want to see them succeed, but I like that they are bringing in like a newer band like Buck Cherry, and I think they should have brought some other newer bands, a lot of like European rock and metal bands would have been really cool to see, and then also a lot of the regional acts to give them an opportunity to play on such a big stage with some of the big or acts,
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to see Queensryche and everything. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully Kiefer will play some new stuff. Hopefully, I know he's going to play, of course, his Cinderella songs, and then he's going to play Buff Stuff of Rise, because I know they're touring too. They announced that, and I know LA Guns is doing a bunch of dates with them on that.
So is Buck Cherry. So I think that's also one of the reasons why Buck is there.
Right, and I think they're all under the same like booking agency. So it's like I think it's Sullivan Big agency, and of course. Yeah, and they get a package deal. They okay, if we take all these bands that are on your roster for one day, what can you do for us? And then they'll spit out a number, and then Eric goes, no, how about this? And they go back and forth a bit, do the dance, and then they finally say, okay, and there you go. And that's what M3 consists of.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are some bands I wish they would bring back that I haven't seen on M3 in a while. But M3 is always a good time. I know the three of us had a blast the last time the three of us were down there.
Yeah.
Despite the rain and horrible weather, that was shit. But overall, and how certain people don't like me, but whatever. Join the club. Here's my ex-wife's phone number. I don't care. Like I said, love me, hate me, still talking about it. That's basically it. I just wish they would bring on some bands that haven't played M3.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely with you on that. Like when it comes to the whole European thing, like I'm super down. I'm super down for the cause on that. Like 100%. I mean, bands that I love out of there, like Crash Diet and Hardcore Superstar, Heat, the Cruel Intentions. Like I understand that they're not likely going to bring in multiples of those bands because they got to foot the bill for things like visas and extensive travel and stuff like that. I always made peace with that, which is one of the reasons why you tend to, with the exception of a few years ago, it's not as you're not going to see multiple European bands on M3 at the same time. They had Accept along with Doro one year, but also at the same time, Accept most of Accept live in the States now.
So I think all of them do.
I think they might all do.
Yeah.
Wolf, I think, might be a little bit back and forth, but everybody else, I think, lives in the States.
Right.
Because I know that Martin's in Nashville. I know that Phil, I believe, is in Nashville. I think Chris, might be in Nashville.
Mark is in Jersey.
Mark's in Jersey. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wolf is in the States with most of his band here as well. But it wouldn't shock me either if he kind of pulls double duty overseas as well. But anyway, I've made peace with that kind of stuff. Same thing with a band like when they brought in Burning Witches, who's from Switzerland. But I wish there would be more of that. There does need to be some like younger bands to it. Even bands that are younger, but because the band is young, not necessarily because the players don't have experience. We talk all the time about how much we'd love to see Kick and Valentino on M3. And I think not only would we want to see that because the fans would love it, the band absolutely rocks, but they're genuinely seasoned veterans that play music that works with that. And that's what we want to go with. That's what we want to see. That's one of the reasons why still to this day, the best M3 lineup, in my opinion, that they ever had was 2012. That was, as far as the biggest names from the Sunset Strip, that was the best lineup, and I'll die on the hill for that fight.
Could you remind me and tell me who was on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm old, so my memory's a little
Don't get me wrong. There were some notable absences. Like they didn't have Cinderella. They didn't have somebody from Motley Crue. They didn't have somebody from Poison. Now that being said, they had Cinderella, and Cinderella had to drop off the bill. They got replaced by Rat, but that was also Rat when it was still the original band. Obviously missing, with the exception of Robin, but that was when Carlos was in the band. But it was all the rest of the original members. It was, Warren and Juan and Bobby and Steven. So like there was that. It was Queensryche when Queensryche was still pretty much the original band, when it still had Scott on drums, still had Jeff on vocals, but it had Parker on guitar. But they had overall that whole weekend, they had Night Ranger, they had Lita Ford. But then Saturday was the big, like, massive day. Lynch Mob, Dokken, Quiet Riot, Skid Row, Striper, I think Great White, and I think they might have even had XYZ, but I forget. But it was the biggest names from the Sunsets. Striper played that one. It was just huge name after huge name. Now, anyway, that being said, I also equally die on the hill for how the 13th year was the best year that they'd had in easily a decade. Because there's three specific criterias that I'd always said M3 needs to stick to for success. And that's they need new, like a shiny new toy. They need a band. They need band or bands that are a little bit obscure, that fit the criteria. They kind of fit in the box. They kind of like they'd be welcome at the party, but they might not be the first band that you think of. And then you need a band that's like obscure, that definitely belongs, but are definitely unique. And the 13th year absolutely killed it because their shiny new toy was Burning Witches, who I had been telling everybody, just wait and see. These girls are literally going to knock your dicks in the dirt. They're going to be so good and everybody's going to talk about them. And that's what happened. Now, the band that was welcome to the party, but you just might not think of, for me, was Blue Oyster Cult. They absolutely fit in that genre. They fit in that style. But, for 80s glam metal, hard rock, you're not going to think Blue Oyster Cult right off the top of your head.
True.
But in my opinion, they're invited to the party. I think they fit. And then when it came to like kind of unique, slightly bizarre, but definitely belongs, that was Lizzie Borden.
Fucking yeah.
And I'd been waiting for Lizzie Borden to play M3 for whenever the fucking long, as in all 13 years, because that's how long it took for them actually to get called up. And I was so stoked, and they were so good. The biggest mistake that was made, and I knew it when I saw the set times, is that they are not made for 30 minutes. They are genuinely not built that way. They are a Broadway play.
Yeah.
You have to 45 minutes would have been tolerable, and an hour would have been ideal. 30 minutes was just not a smart move, in my opinion. And from what I heard, everybody was saying that. Like by the time
100% agree.
by the time people kind of got into it and was like, yes, I am down. All of a sudden, it's like, we got one more for you guys. We want to thank M3 for having us out. And it's kind of like, wait, say what now? And that was the thing with that. So that's always been my biggest thing when it comes to M3 is these 3 specific things that I do think they need to stick with for success. Now, as far as like, invited to the party, I that's kind of how I look at my Buck Cherry, because it's like they definitely fit the Hard Rock bill.
Right.
Nobody's going to think of them on this. And that also goes for Barry. Like I'm personally kind of intrigued and kind of interested at the fact that they've got, like the original guitar player of Boston. Like I find that interesting. That it kind of strikes my fancy. But everything else about the lineup, I mean, I'm down for it because the 3 of us are friends with just about everybody. So
True.
like you're never gonna. So they've got Faster Pussycat. I'm not gonna bitch. That's gonna give me another excuse to see Kieran.
Right.
We've got Trickster. I'm not gonna bitch. That's another excuse to see PJ and Steve-O.
Right.
I personally am stoked about this White Lion situation. While as far as I know, it's not gonna involve it's Mike, of course, because it can't be anything without him.
Right.
As far as I know, it's not Vito.
Right.
It's
Marcus.
It's Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say because I haven't heard any conversation.
From what I understood, that's what they've been playing together for a while.
Mm-hmm. And like
I'm not knocking Marcus because he's exceptionally good.
Oh hell
but,
yeah!
I want Vito.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like I had heard something recently that, if nothing more, some casual conversations had happened recently between Mike and Vito. I can't confirm or deny that. I just kind of feel like that's something I had heard recently. So that there might be something in the ballpark of like those guys doing something. Even if it was nothing more than just having a good old fashioned conversation and kind of clearing the air when it comes to that.
Yeah, and then just come out and do one song.
Exactly.
You don't have to do the whole set.
Mm-hmm.
Come out and do freaking When the Children Cry or freaking Little Fighter, and then just, bow, throw a pick out, and beam you in the chest, and you're good. I know.
Totally. And Angel, go ahead and take it away after this. Like my only real thing, and this is so funny to say based off our last conversation earlier this afternoon, is my whatever for me personally, honestly, is Queensryche. Because the thing is, I love Queensryche. I always loved Queensryche, and I will always love Queensryche. Queensryche, though, and I can't get mad at them for it, because you dial in your tours a certain way, especially bands like Queensryche that have very extensive catalogs that not only want to play the hits or at least play what the fans expect to a certain degree, but also want to take into consideration that they still regularly put out new albums and good albums at that. Queensryche brings a lot of heat on themselves, though, by their unwillingness. And again, I don't mean this in a bad way, but their unwillingness to play extensive hits at a hits festival. And I've read and heard more criticism than I used to about the Queensryche sets, where Todd still sounds fantastic and they're all great and the set is energetic and it's fucking killer. But they'll do a set. It's a lot like when Wasp played M3 back in like 2013. They were touring the Crimson Idol record, which is a really good record. But that was also like the first time they'd played the States in like a really long time. And the only songs that you really got from the casual Wasp fan was like Wild Child, I Want to Be Somebody, and Blind in Texas.
Right.
Versus me, I wanted to hear songs like Harder, Faster. I wanted to hear songs like Scream Until You Like It. Like I want to hear Fuck Like a Beast. Like,
Me too. But you know, for a while, Blackie said he didn't want to play it because and I'm not knocking his religion or anything, being a Christian or whatever. But you know what? That's what put you on the fucking map.
True. And even that
Veruca? What do you want?
And even that song, I'm comfortable cutting out of the set off of his personal wishes. But that being said, I'm still expecting at a hits festival to get Harder, Faster, and Ball Crusher and Scream Until You Like It. That's just my personal say on it.
I agree.
Anyway, Queensryche, again, because M3, and this is probably the same, M3 tends to fall somewhere in their tour. And so when you've got your set list dialed in a certain way, I can understand that and appreciate that. However, that being said, if I'm in a band like that and we've got, a 3-month tour going on where we're going to be focusing on like Rage, or we're going to be focusing on this, or we're going to be playing our newest album, I'm going to make sure that we have a festival hit set ready to go as well, specifically for that, where nobody's going to knock them playing, 3 songs off the new album, because you want to get those songs out there. But at the same time, when you know that Jet City Woman, Eyes of a Stranger, I Don't Believe in Love are expectations,
right?
Like you kind of, in my opinion, you got to play the game. And I do feel like to a certain degree, some bands don't really want to play the game. And again, that doesn't necessarily hurt the band per se when they're a successfully touring band, but it can definitely hurt the festival, where if a festival brings back a band, and again, Queensryche is definitely a band that I would call regulars, but I've already even heard fans kind of shrug this one off a little bit, because they're like, well, I don't know if I really want to watch Queensryche if they're just going to do another like standard set of songs that are less known. So I definitely understand where it comes to criticism on there. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like M3 lacks a little bit of that fresh, shiny new toy. But I also do feel like there needs to be a little bit more aggression. And hey, we kind of need you guys to put it out there for the fans more if you're going to play M3 like doing a regular tour. But Angel, what do you think, brother?
I agree with everything you guys have said, but just put my 2 cents in. People got to show up at the end of the day. I think if this sells out, guaranteed 2027 will be more than one day.
Yeah.
The one thing that I hope that they do, building the momentum from last year, when he had David Lee Roth, everybody, I can tell you who was waiting. Midnight Devils was in the audience. Spread Eagle was in the audience. Stephen Sweet and other members from Warrant were in the audience for David Lee Roth, because he had not performed in 6 years.
Yeah.
What I would hope that they can do is get, for an example, M3 2027, get Vito from White Lion to perform with Mike Tramp, or get the original White Lion, or
because all of them are still alive.
Yeah,
they're all still alive.
James now is out of Megadeth. Megadeth just came out with their last album. This is their last tour.
Yeah, so that was like, it was like when
your farewell tour.
It was like when Piggy D left Zombie and went to Manson. The very first thought in my head, and it turned out to be right, is I was like, Rob's gonna call Blasco. because Blasco's now out of a job, because this was long before Ozzy passed, but this was after Ozzy retired and couldn't do the touring anymore. So I was like, even though he's been the 15-year manager of the Black Veil Brides, so he's always staying active. I was like, if he still has the bug for touring because he was with Ozzy up all the way up until that time, I was like, Blasco's now out of a job. So I was like, what, I would love to see him back in Rob Zombie, which ultimately ended up being what happened. So I'm personally really stoked to hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the Zombie Manson tour, but I'm going to try. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting to see Rob Zombie soon, because 3/4 of the original Rob Zombie lineup is now back together, and I never got to see them back then. So I'm personally down for the cause to see Rob, Riggs, and Blasco. But anyway, that's a conversation for another time. Right back to you, Angel.
You know what could work for David Lee Roth next year is if he does the Eat 'em and Smile lineup.
That'd be freaking amazing.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
And they're all still alive and well.
Yep.
Yeah. Nobody would bitch about that at all.
No, they were supposed to play that one show. You remember at the Whiskey, but they shut it down because too many people showed up. The fire marshal shut the place down. Sorry, I'm walking to my car. Don't mind me.
Or, there's a Rat or Cinderella with Jeff LaBar's son.
Yeah, Sebastian would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but I honestly, the only thing with that is the question mark would be Fred.
I
think Fred would do it.
I mean, for one show, it's not like they're doing a tour. They're
right.
just doing 3.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like he's not capable either.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely. Dude's still doing studio work and writing.
Right.
Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know where Motley is. So apparently, Nyx is just making her presence known. She's like, you know what? I'm taking over this show.
Yeah, just the tail. That's what got me cracking up. We don't see him. We just see the tail.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't have Motley Crue, we could do Vince Neil's original band, Dave Marshall, freaking Robbie Crane, Vicky Fox.
Yeah.
All them. Steve Stevens, when he's not touring with Billy Idol.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
not to discredit Mark Striegel or Tommy London, because I like them as people, but we need a fresher new host or hosts.
Yeah.
Too.
And
Jackson, you couldn't be more right about that. That made me so disappointed.
Nope. A vampire, a guy with a beard, a guy with the sexy long hair. Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Damn, it's colder than my ex's heart out here. Fuck, man. I hate this weather.
Yeah, Jackson was just talking about the biggest disappointment about David Lee Roth was that he didn't play like Shy Boy or Yankee Rose. He only covered Van Halen. And that was the reason that when he was announced last year that I was particularly stoked about it, because I'd never seen David solo, nor had I ever seen him do solo songs. I saw him with Van Halen, but I never got to hear any of those songs. So I was super hyped. And don't get me wrong, it was super bitching to see David Lee Roth live again. But considering it was an entire Van Halen set, that definitely left me kind of wanting.
So
that's a good.
And then who else?
Steve,
yes, sir.
If you could sing one song for a band at M3, what would you do?
Well, because I can't sing like Jeff Tate or Todd LaTorre. It definitely wouldn't be a Queensryche song. You know what? I'm going to throw a really obscure band that I really like. Butch Walker. I would do an M3. I would do a Marvelous 3 song.
That's a good one. I like that.
I would love to see him there.
I mean, again, I know he's on a couple different levels of crazy, and we all know that, but he's always been good to me. I would personally love to do electric, Leather Boys with Electric Toys with Pretty Boy Floyd. Personally, I also
That's
would
pretty
love.
stellar.
I would also love to do Blackout in the Red Room with Love Hate.
I would love to sing background on Monkey Business by Skid Row.
That's a good one.
Add more cowbell to it.
Add more cowbell. Nice. But also another band that I think would make people really excited, that I think people would genuinely enjoy, is I would love to see John 5 on M3 with his band.
That would be fun.
Like, that's so good. Like that, because it's mostly instrumental stuff, but I could see him getting a singer and doing some cool stuff. But John does these also amazing medleys of songs where he'll play riffs from all these different bands that he's in. So he'll go from playing like a Rob Zombie riff, and then he'll go into a Manson riff, and then he'll go into like Two when he was in the band with Halford. He'll do a Van Halen riff from when he used to play with David Lee Roth. Like I would love to see John 5 on M3 with John 5 and the Creatures. I just think that would be fucking sick.
Oh, you know what band I would like to see reunite to get together? A couple of bands. I just thought of it. Speaking of Creatures, how about Beautiful Creatures?
Oh, absolutely. I've been bitching about that for God knows how long.
I saw them at Ozfest. I never told you guys that. I don't know if I told you. I did see that show. Yeah, I went to several Ozfests.
Mm-hmm.
And Beautiful Creatures happened to be one of the bands that played on the first or second year of Ozfest, which was pretty rad.
Yep. And all those dudes are available. In fact, nobody in Beautiful. The funny thing is, with the exception of Alex, nobody from Beautiful Creatures is actually in a band right now. They are, but they're not. And the funny thing is Alex is in a band, but that also doesn't change the fact that the guy that Alex replaced is still with us and not in a band.
Right.
So, the fact is, we could get Kenny Queens, DJ Ashba, Anthony Fox, Joe Lestay, and I'm drawing a blank on the drummer at the moment, without any issue, like literally without any conflicts right now. In fact, when they did do their reunion show, like 7 years ago or whatever, I was all over that shit because what
show? The Bang Tango?
The Beautiful Creatures reunion show that they did like 7 years ago. Because at the time, everybody was available. Because Quiet Riot, because Quiet Riot wasn't doing as much. But
because of Frankie's health.
But again, Alex, Kenny, I believe Timmy Russell was on drums for that. Anthony Fox and then obviously Joe, because Bang wasn't doing all that much. They're all
alive
and well and doing things. So when that reunited, I thought that was pretty cool. Both of them actually, I believe, Jackson. Extreme for sure has played M3 a couple of times, and so is Tesla.
And they sound fantastic.
Yeah. I see Jules. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
It could be a catch. The original members of Tesla for one show.
Right.
Drummer and Tommy.
I mean, the band's pretty much still original. It would just be a matter of them talking to Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, who's playing drums though? Is it what's his name playing drums for them? Because Tesla just played here with Sebastian Bach in Atlantic City this past weekend. And it wasn't the drummer. What's his name? I can't think of his name for Tesla. Yeah, I can't remember the drummer's name, but it wasn't the original drummer.
Right.
So like I said, there's several bands that are still like alive, and maybe they could just put their differences aside and say, you know what, for a show and some dough, let's go. You know, seriously. Yeah, I just made a run. Look at that. I'm a poet. I didn't know it. But you know, there are several bands I would like to see put their differences aside and just play a couple shows and, you know, go out.
Yeah.
You know. So, and speaking of bands that, you know, aren't all original, I'm sure you know about this, Jay, that Mick Mars lost his lawsuit with Crew.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that sucks.
You know,
Yeah. Unfortunately, Mick was just outgunned.
Right.
And the thing is, if we were literally having a conversation with Mick Mars right now, and for that matter, having a conversation with Motley Crue, I don't personally think that the point of the lawsuits were exactly as written in media.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a question that Mick, physically wasn't at his best. Mick physically hasn't been at his best in 20 years. That doesn't change the fact that there is not a bigger titan in, fucking music than Mick Mars. I just think ultimately the problem was their inability, which is insane to me considering that the band is like 50, almost. But like, I'm more, befuddled at the fact that those guys couldn't somehow have a conversation as to what's the best way to keep Motley Crue and their legacy alive, and moving forward. Even if it's without Mick, okay, have a conversation about proper royalty payouts. How does Mick get paid annually for everything that Motley continues to do? Because that's the way it would have to be. I want to see Motley Crue with John 5. Like I said, I love John 5, and I think he fits in that band better than people give him credit for. I would personally like to see it, and I look forward to hopefully seeing it sooner rather than later. But Angel, looks like Jules has got another question for, in this case, you and me, because Steve has a
I'm going to say M3 just because, and I'm biased because my heart is M3. I go there every year. They're always super nice, super cool to us. I always want to see the best for M3. There's one cool idea for M3, and Skid Row, if you're listening, listen up. Have it where you have 4 finalists for the lead singer of Skid Row. Do a couple of songs. See what the fan reaction is.
No, I definitely think that would be really, really awesome for sure. Yeah. As far as me, again, I'm right with you there, Angel. I have a lot of love and I'm incredibly protective of M3. Now, if I'm being honest about a festival just in general that I am familiar with, that is a can't miss festival, for me, I would say Maryland Death Fest. The thing is, to get the overall real experience, you have to be a part of that world. Like, you have to be a black and death metal person. But here's the thing. The reason why I find that Maryland Death Fest is a can't miss festival for anybody that wants to go to it is because the community is insane. Everybody there is there to have a good time and just drink and be merry. Also, there are so many vendors, so many fucking vendors, t-shirts and vinyls and records and patches and studded things and art. And it's genuinely insane how much just shit there is to buy at Maryland Death Fest. And that's one of the things that I always really look forward to with Maryland Death Fest is the ability to just shop till I drop, because it's pretty insane. So as far as just an atmosphere, Maryland Death Fest, in my opinion, is definitely a can't miss festival.
Okay. What I like about Jay and Steve is that Brian's question. Those guys are. I'm not saying this because they're listening, but I sincerely mean it. They're like real brothers to me.
No, for sure. When it comes to when it comes to the guys, like when it comes to Angel, like there's nobody that I've known that like just fights for the guys and is also just so supportive like he is. Especially taking myself into consideration on a show like this that is built on a specific style of music, but also me being kind of the guy of that scene that's a little bit kind of off the grid, with my taste in music being a little bit darker, a little bit, more, punky, a little bit more obscure. And the fact that the guys are always like, dude, fuck yeah, book them, bring them on. Even if it's somebody who's not technically necessarily a musician, somebody who might be like an author, somebody who might be like a wrestler, somebody who might be doing clothing, that kind of stuff. It always still ties in a certain way. There's always still usually musical aspects of it, but always being so super down for me, just going off the grid and booking somebody that most people would deem weird for this show. And when it comes to Steve, it's the fact that it's always family first. It's exactly how we want it. It's family, kids, Jessa, and also looking out for just the independent, like personal, like things that friends want to get into and letting people know about that, whether it be like, hey, if you're looking for real estate, hey, if you're looking for good dental work, hey, I'm doing this festival, but you should check it out because these people also do this. Or, hey, I've got another friend who's like, who loves coffee and this is their little shop. That's the other thing. That's one of the things that I've always really, really dug when it came to Steve, is putting like, making sure that everybody's like personal projects are always like acknowledged.
And just on a personal thing, like you and Steve, when my parents died, it was, dude, take care of yourself. Yeah. And they're with me at my best. We've done, Jay, I did my birthday with you 1 year. Yeah, Steve, 1 year we did Thanksgiving and we did Christmas together.
Right.
Can't get any more family than that.
Yeah.
Steve was at my best when I met John Bon Jovi. Steve was nice enough to calm me down and ask John Bon Jovi if I could take a picture with him because
parking his space
froze completely.
It was my space. It wasn't his space. Didn't have his name on it.
Well, I thought he was joking.
It's because his name was on the fucking building.
I thought he was like, I was like, very funny, Steve. Really?
True.
Oh, Steve,
so my heated seat is not working in my car. I just have to complain about that. Let me get that out. Okay, good. What you gonna say? What?
What do you love about me and Jay?
That you're true to yourselves and you're true to everybody else and damn loyal to me, and you're just real. There's no bullshit, no filter. You guys are just the real deal. You're like my little brothers that I always wanted.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a funny story. Whenever I had a fucking breakup, my exes would contact Steve or Jay. So that's why I don't do relationships, okay?
We're just one big throuple.
There you go.
Why are you hitting them up for?
Amazing people on this show, that I would love to bring on again if they ever have any other projects they want to talk about or whatever. Mm-hmm. But of course, I want to get newer guests on the show too. Make it a little, that's why I reached out to Julia and a couple other people that we're going to have on the show. I don't want to mention any names because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But, I just think it's good that we have variety.
Oh yeah.
I just feel that we should get supplemented or freaking how we could make money doing this, because all three of us are fucking talented. Let's call it what it is. You
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
both have talented on certain aspects. I have a talent that I want to use, and just sitting in my car, living room, wherever I'm at doing this, I want to get paid for this bitch.
Nah, for sure. We just need to find that right conversation kind of at the right time. But we see you, Jules. We appreciate you being back involved with us and hanging out and rocking out with us. We
In Montana.
know he's your favorite psycho.
Thank you.
Of course.
I've known Jules a long time. I met Jules when I was managing a band called the Dropouts with Mickey Twist.
Mickey
This
Twist.
Yes.
He wished me a happy birthday the other day.
Nice. Oh yeah, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Oh no, thank you, brother. But no, also because that was also a band that featured my buddy Ray Ray, who then went on to do a band called Trash Light Stars. That's when I met him. White Trash Stars. That's when I met him with Kaz on vocals.
Cool.
I do actually need to go to their website because I am overdue for a Dropouts t-shirt.
Cool. And I still have the single that we recorded at Stevie D's recording studio.
Nice.
Yes. But yeah, and we played with a lot of great bands from like the Bullet Boys. We played with Skid Row. We played with House of Lords.
Actually, I bet Mickey would come on and talk about old times.
Absolutely. I'll text him as soon as I get off this show.
Sweet.
Well, he's probably sleeping now, but you know.
Oh.
He's had some health stuff.
Oh, fair
That's
enough.
why.
Text him in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the thing, and the band did quite well, playing a lot of shows and stuff like that. It just egos, you know.
Yeah.
It sucks. Ego. What's that shirt that I thought I saw Nina Strauss wearing one day? It said like ego
kills talent.
Yeah.
Or destroys talent or something
like that. But it had like the Beverly Hills like kind of.
Yeah. I
lettering.
Forget. I think actually that's the name of the company. I think it's called like Beverly Kills.
Oh, okay. Cool. It's very fitting.
There is like a clothing. There's like a clothing company or something for that. Because I had seen that T-shirt make its way around a couple of stars and stuff like that. And
right.
No, I definitely saw that too. And it's true.
Right. Oh, and speaking of another band, I thought of another band that I would love to see reunite and play M3. I would like to see, what the hell's the name of the band? Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades, Ted Nugent, Damn Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're all still alive.
Yeah.
I know Ted is pretty much semi-retired or is retired, but you know.
But Mikey's also out of a job right now because Leonard Skinner's about to stop.
Right.
I don't believe that yet.
So, but I'm just thinking of artists that are still with us that could still go out and play.
Yeah.
They don't have to do a full set, like an hour and a half or so. Do like a 45-minute, hour set, play their top 5 songs, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that Vito Bratta isn't in the greatest health. That's why there is no Vito Bratta at the moment. But like I said, he doesn't have to play a whole hour and a half.
So, yeah, oh, definitely. So here's the thing, Jackson. I personally think that I feel like this is a media issue. I've watched this saga for a little bit now. I can't in good faith believe that Brett wanted like 6 times more money than the rest of the guys.
Agreed. I don't think it's that amount.
I can't. I don't buy it. If there's, you know, if there's $1 million to be split 4 ways. Could I see Brett, taking, 40% of all of it so that the other guys get 20% each, where it's like 20 for Ricky, 20 for Bobby, 20 for Cece, and 40 for Brett? I could. And that's not to say anything negative about Brett. That's just the power of a front man and a songwriter and a dominant personality. And I don't mean dominant personality as in having one, because Ricky is a very strong-headed dominant personality as well. I'm talking about the fact that like Brett is also so out there. Like Ricky Rocket can walk down the street and he'll get noticed by rock fans, but in my opinion, he'd likely be able to continue on relatively simplistically with his day. Bret Michaels has become so much more commonly known, not only with his with the music, but also the stuff he did on VH1 and MTV, and also the stuff that he also did just being a big football fan and popping up on things like, NFL talk shows and stuff, being that he's a big Steelers guy and whatnot. So could I understand Brett making 2 paychecks out of what would kind of be like, $1 million split between 5 people, with Brett getting the pay of 2? I could see that, yes.
Because he's the front man. I get it. Same thing with Skid Row when they were trying to negotiate with Sebastian. He felt that he should get more because he's the front man. Right. And I respect that. But, put the differences aside, put the money aside. You're going to get a paycheck, and a nice one too. Yeah. So I personally think the whole 6 times more thing, Jackson, that's a fabrication. I don't buy that shit for a second. Do I think he could have asked for more? Possibly did ask for more? Sure. I do think it's very possible, yes. But do I think it's this lopsided, ridiculous number? No, buddy. I don't buy that for a second. Right.
But you and I are due for a hang sometime soon, brother. So let me know. You need to come over to the house and check it out.
Yeah, Jackson, we hung out at M3, dude. We got to hang out again when I come down March 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got to get you on Metal Summit as well, you and your band.
Hell yeah.
What's the name of his band?
The Noise.
Cool.
And he's also done a ton of solo stuff.
Yeah, they're
It's really good people.
Yeah.
He was nominated for a Maryland Music Award recently.
Wow, congrats to him.
Yeah. So,
but like I said, I think all these bands that are still with us and they're not maybe in a band together, just do it. Like, take your egos, stick it somewhere else, put it away for a bit, and just go out and play, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everybody was on board until Sebastian opened his mouth again, and that's what messed up the whole reunion, because there was reunion on the table for Skid Row.
Yeah.
And Poison, same thing. Brett is entitled to a little bit more because he is also more of he's the face of the brand.
The face, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been out there because CC hasn't done shit in how long, besides the little reunion tours they just did a couple years ago. Yeah. He hasn't done any solo band. He didn't resurface Samantha 7.
Oh, dude, I would show up to that, bro. I fucking love that album.
Yeah. But
you want to talk if somebody was to ask me, just tell me an album to go listen to that is just plain fun. Dude, top to bottom, first song to last, that Samantha 7 song is just fucking fun.
So that is yours. Mine is Marvelous 3, the Hey album. Love that album. Just freaking insane. But like I said, Vince Neil could get his old band back.
Yeah.
Everybody's still, what are they all doing? They're not really doing much of anything. Except Vince is doing what? Motley and having 4 strokes, which is crazy.
I know, that's insane.
Right. And then
And getting married
even
again.
so, right. And then how about if Motley Crue doesn't do anything and everything? Nikki has Brides of Destruction. All of them are still alive.
It's got 6 a.m.
Or 6 a.m. Exactly. All of them are still with us.
Personally, I don't know what's the deal is with that, but I feel like M3 has long since dropped the ball on getting 6 a.m. on the fucking bill.
Right.
Like back when 6 a.m. was actually touring, because I went to both of the tours, like when they were 6 a.m. tours. I was like, man, because they put out a series of albums in a very close proximity, and I was like, how?
And they were good.
Yo, dude, I love the 6 a.m. albums. Like, I fucking will kill for that band. I've got one of the pictures out of Nikki's Heroin Diaries book on my chest. Like I fucking love that band, like instantaneously.
Right.
And so like, I think that would be really, really awesome. Again, they had Bang Tango. Like, fucking right. All those guys are still with us.
Right. Mark is on board. Joe had a heart attack last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know he's doing real estate with his wife in Arizona. Fine. But, don't you miss playing?
Mm-hmm.
There's, like I said, there's like 10 bands out there that I would love to see just do a couple shows and just say, okay, we did it. Thank you.
Oh, Steve, how do you feel about this one?
Okay.
Dokken doing the final show with the original members at M3.
It'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
They're all still alive.
They're all still alive.
Don can't sing for shit, but you know what? So what? I hate to say it, Motley Crue is one of my favorite bands. Vince is struggling too.
Yeah.
My favorite band, Kiss. Paul was struggling at the end too.
Dude,
but you know what? Just come on. Do it for the fans.
Give me the OG fucking lynch mob lineup.
Right. Exactly.
Dude, give me fucking Mick and Oni and George and Anthony. I should reach out to Anthony. He's been wanting to do the show.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny
Anthony Esposito, right?
Esposito, yeah. I've interviewed him a couple of times. Yeah.
Cool. I remember when he was playing with Ace.
Yep. Because I interviewed him for the first time on the first Red Dragon Cartel tour.
Nice. And there's another band. I know Ray Gillian's dead, but you still have Eric Singer. You still have Jakey Lee.
Yeah.
You still have Greg Chasen.
Yeah.
Still, they could get another male singer that could hit some of those notes that Ray did, because Ray was the man.
Just call Brent Carlisle.
Right? Yeah, I just heard someone told me he was on American Idol.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I didn't know if it's come. I don't know if it had come out yet.
I don't know either. So, just curious.
You know who's never played M3? Jeff Scott Soto.
Very true.
Yeah.
And I've seen him a handful of times.
Me too.
I saw him at Journey, Soul Circus, and what the hell's the band with Billy Sheehan, Mike Portnoy, Bumblefoot. What the hell is it called?
Oh,
Sons of Apollo.
Yeah. Yeah. That would definitely be cool. I saw him solo, and I think I was able to catch him one time with TSO.
Cool. Nice.
But no, I think that would be really cool. No, there's Sabotage. They've been doing a lot more lately.
Yeah, but in Europe.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that Chris about it. I'm like, what the fuck?
But that's also the thing too, is like when some of these bands get together for whatever the reason is, that's when I think M3 needs to take advantage of like striking on that kind of stuff. For example, this M3, especially when the original post came out like 3 months ago or whatever, to kind of like let people know that the lineup was coming, there was a lot of Twisted Sister talk.
Right.
Because the announcement was highlighted in pink. There was
Right.
a lot of Twisted Sister talk. The funny thing is, I couldn't help but wonder a little bit, is that I wonder if Lonnie fucked it up for the Bullet Boys at M3, because when he was on the show in November, because he kind of said they were talking to M3 for this year on the show.
He could have.
And I don't necessarily know. I can't confirm or deny, but I remember getting a chuckle about it. So Jackson, we kind of touched base on this at the beginning of the episode, so we'll circle back around for you, buddy. If we're giving our personal opinions, one of the main reason is because they've gotten hurt financially over the last recent years. Personally, I thought last year was incredibly stupid financially. It never made sense to me, still doesn't make sense to me, why they did Sebastian all by himself on Friday. Now, here's the thing, though. I know there was that opening like cover band like Snake Oil or whatever. And I will say, when I watched Sebastian's set, it was great. He sounded great. And there honestly was a very quality crowd. Like, I was very impressed with the amount of people that came out. And the thing is, I was having a conversation with somebody where they were talking about, well, that day was kind of included in everybody's tickets. Like, if people bought the weekend pass, that was kind of included. You know, the price for a Saturday ticket and the price for a Sunday ticket was pretty much the same as the festival ticket. I'm like, well, I understand that, but that doesn't change the fact that M3 was going to have to pay Merriweather for that day of use. And that was the thing that never made sense to me, is why they would have that big ass open air venue for just Sebastian Bach and nobody else that day.
100% agree with you. 100%. They shit the bed on that.
Again, I was incredibly impressed with the crowd. I was very pleased and proud of the M3 faithful for showing up, because I was expecting him to play for like 200 people. And that sounds like a shitty thing to say. It's just that Sebastian, he's great. He brings it. I enjoy him every time I see him. But he's a club performer currently. It's just the way it is. You know, people can debate me all they want if on that. They'll lose, but they can go.
No, you're 100%. No, I 100% agree with you.
But I'm happy to have the debate.
No, you're because it's not Skid Row. It's Sebastian Bach.
And again, Jackson, the other reason too, in my opinion, is, you know, earlier in the interview, we talked about M3's inconsistency of giving people reasons to come to the festival consistently. And it's because there's 3 things that they need to do, which is a shiny new toy, which is like a brand new band, a band that fits, but you wouldn't really think of, like they did with Blue Oyster Cult, and like the shiny new toy band they did with Burning Witches, and a band that absolutely belongs, but is obscure and unique and would really bring kind of a wow factor. And that's what they did with Lizzie Borden a few years ago. So M3 has not been doing a good job giving fans a reason to come consistently, because they're getting the same bands over and over. Look, I don't pay the keyboard warriors no mind, because every M3 lineup that's ever going to get released, they're going to bitch. They're going to complain. Oh, this band again. Oh, that band again. Look, I've gotten over that. It doesn't bother me. I'm going to go. Thank you, Jackson. Absolutely. I've gotten over the whole keyboard warrior bullshit about the lineup because it just is what it is. I'm going to go every year and I'm going to have a great time because it's a giant family barbecue. I get to hang with my mates like right now. And the fact of the matter is, just because of the good fortune of being in the business so long, half of the M3 lineup, if not more, of the bands they book are all going to be friends of mine. So it just gives me an excuse to get to hang with buddies that I don't get to see because they're always out on the road or live across the country. Now, also, that being said, it's also a matter of the fans understanding that M3 it's a niche market. They are an 80s rock nostalgia festival, point blank, period. So
Why do you think Rocklahoma does so well?
Because they expanded enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they bring in old school, new school, and they mix it all together.
And that's the thing. If M3, if I'm looking at this lineup right now, let me pull it up again real quick for the sake of this argument. And then Metal Summoners, it is going to be last call though, guys. We're going to let you guys all know about what myself, Angel, and Steve have coming up. But it has been a long day. We appreciate rocking out. We will be in touch with Lonnie. We will absolutely have him back. But it is going to be last call for alcohol. If there's anything that you want me, Steve, and Angel to talk about real quick, pop it into the comments because we'll absolutely see it and we will absolutely discuss it. Now, when it comes to the lineup right now, if I was to look at this, I'm glad that Tom Kiefer's back because I was absolutely over him for a while. And it's been a while since he'd been here. But he played M3 like 5 years in a row. And I love Cinderella. I am a huge, huge fan of the song Somebody Save Me. It's still my favorite Cinderella song with no equal, in my opinion. But he played M3 like 5 years in a row. And I was like, what the fuck, man? But if I'm looking at bands at the moment, I would give Queensryche the axe and I would bring in Hailstorm. I like the fact that Buck Cherry's there. I like the fact that Mike Tramp is there because we have not gotten an actual, regardless of the lineup, we have not had a White Lion performance. So I like it for that. If I'm looking at Barry Goddard's Engine Room, I'm cool with it. I like the idea of it. It does have that Blue Oyster Cult feel to me. So I don't have a problem with it. And again, I don't have a problem with Faster Pussycat and I don't have a problem with Trickster. But then also that being said, what are some of the other bands right now that you could like splice in there in some way? For example, since we were talking about Rob Zombie and Ozzy Osbourne for a moment earlier, give me a band like the Black Veil Brides, who I've always described, in my opinion, as the combination of Motley Crue and Kiss making a baby. And that would bring such a new crowd, such a new clientele, but a different style, but it also fits. They are influenced by all those bands. They covered Unholy from Revenge on one of their EPs. Like the first album.
Very well, by the way.
Very well. Zakk Wylde played the guitar on that song.
Really?
Yeah, Zakk Wylde played the guitar on that. It was either their cover of Unholy or it was their song Coffin off the same EP. But I believe that Zakk Wylde did the guitar playing for the Unholy cover.
Wow, that's pretty badass. I never knew that.
But I definitely know that they collabed. But also, that being said, have we ever seen Black Label Society on M3?
No.
Why the fuck not?
I know, and they're touring.
Yep.
Or Zach Sabbath.
Or even Zach Sabbath. I know there's a lot of fussiness when it comes to cover bands, but at least with Zach Sabbath, they're fronted by a guy who is a genuine original music guy. So, that's one of those situations where I could be like, it's all good. But yeah, take a band like the Black Veil Brides, take a band like, Black Label Society and splice them into something like this. So you get a good mix of the old with the new, with the classic. where you've got a band like the Black Veil Brides, like I said, who the band all averages an age of like 30 to 35 years old now, and put in a band like Black Label Society, who has only been around, since the 90s, or to a certain degree aggressively since the early 2000s. But that doesn't change the fact that you've got, Zach, who goes back to Pride and Glory. And that's a band I would love to see do a reunion show. I think that would be really cool. So
they're all alive and well.
Exactly. But if we were to take the current lineup right now and you get rid of Queensryche for Hailstorm, maybe get rid of Barry because of the purpose of my example, but you get rid of Queensryche and Barry, and then you intersplice Black Veil Brides, Black Label Society, and Hailstorm in that place because also keep in mind the relationship, the genuine relationship that Lizzie Hale and Tom Kiefer do have. And it's public knowledge. So that would be a very, very cool thing. I would love to see M3 go that direction. I had heard that was even something they were drastically considering, was doing 2 days where it was a classic 80s M3 style, and then the second day was going to be more of a modern rock festival.
I think that would be brilliant.
Yeah, that is something that I had heard that they were looking to get into. So I think that would be very cool. What tours and shows? I'm taking Angel's job. What tours shows are you looking forward to seeing this coming this year? Again, for me, I got M3. I've got Maryland Death Fest. I am looking forward to Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson. I saw The Who for the first time recently open up for Iron Maiden. I liked them. I thought they were very good. They're not really my cup of tea. That's just not really my style. But I did think they were really, really good. And I fucking love Orgy. So the fact that they're on that tour, as bizarre as it is, I think is just really fucking cool. And I think that's very, very awesome. So those are the tours and shows that I'm looking forward to. I know I've got things on my calendar that I'm interested in. I just don't have anything majorly specific that's like jumping at me right now, Jules. But other than that is like other things that like we've got appearances at. So before I kick it over to the guys to let them answer your question and also remind everybody what we've got going on is so like those are the shows and tours that I'm looking forward to. And then I've also got the MCW Fan Jam, which is the wrestling event that I vend at every year, that Angel's going to be coming down to as well, because it's going to be a dual vending thing where I always vend the Metal Summit merch, but I also vend the Vampire and Devil merch that I do with Ron, who you saw on the show earlier with Kieran. So Ron will be there as well. And then Megan will be there. And I did see what you said earlier. I will absolutely say hi for you. Megan will tentatively be there. She's been getting Sundays off recently, but she just started a new job last week. So of course, you want to build up that good rapport with your new bosses. So she's being very choosy on certain request offs. And she knows that she loves MCW Fan Jam. She loves wrestling, and she definitely wants to meet Kurt Angle. But she understands that this may be one that gets away if they need her to work. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And then also Ron and I have a bunch of horror festivals that we're going to be working later this year and doing vending at and doing interviews at, things like Creature Feature in Gettysburg, PA, New Jersey Horror Con that we work with each year, up in Edison, New Jersey, and Angels come up to that before as well. And then we also work with the Fright Reads festival as well, which is a horror festival in Maryland, but they specialize in horror book authors as opposed to actors and actresses.
That's cool.
And
I never heard that one before.
Absolutely. And they always bring in actors and actresses, but they focus mostly on horror authors and novelists is kind of their main thing. And then there's also the Monster Mania convention that Ron and I don't do press at because they don't do press, but we love to go just as fans and meet people and do stuff like that. So since that ties in a little bit with moi, Steve, what are you doing soon again, sir?
February 4th, Slayerville, New Jersey. I Heart Horror 4.
yours truly, the Jew for You, and Dawn May of Hey All You Rockers will be emceeing I Heart Horror 4. It's a benefit. All the proceeds that they get is going to the Boer Lung and Heart Center, which is very, very cool. Last year, they raised over $13,000 for the event. And Greg and Chris took nothing, nothing, nada, zip, zero. They all donated it directly to the charity.
That's awesome.
They are not a 501c. They are a charity that is donating the money to a 501c. Tickets are $15 in advance for adults, $5 for kids. It's an all ages show. There's live music. There's going to be a DJ. There's going to be an assortment of talent there, excluding me because I don't have much talent. There's going to be like authors. There's going to be actors there. And if you're interested in sponsoring the event or donating, go to ihearthorror.net or contact me and I will send you the information. We have a couple more days until we stop taking sponsors. And it's a fun day. Like I said, Dawn and I did it last year. I did it 2 years in a row prior to Dawn joining me. And there's makeup artists there. They dressed me up as a zombie last year. Maybe I actually look better. And, you know, it was just a lot of fun. And like I said, that's what it's all about. I'm excited for your wrestling event. I'm excited for Angel's event that he's going to talk about in a minute, coming up at Dingbats. And also, I think you're doing opening night for their tour too, correct?
Sellersville, PA at the Sellersville Theater.
With
Bat Marriage and Midnight Devils. We definitely going to be doing an interview with Midnight Devils after or before sound check, but we'll still be going live, doing all that stuff that happens before
Sweet.
doing a tour.
Right. That is very, very cool.
Hell yeah. So
And, they're going to be touring across PA. They're going to Pittsburgh the next day, which I wish I was, but got to rest. Of course, Clifton on the 27th. They're going to West Virginia on the 28th. If you're in North Carolina, they'll be there on the 1st. Georgia, March 3rd. Clearwater on the 4th. Hazelberry on the 5th. Jacksonville on the 6th. And Gastonia, North Carolina on the 7th at the Rooster. They come
Nice.
get it, Alex and James.
When I think the Rooster, I think of the Alice in Chains song. Hello, kitty.
Hey, Kitty, where you gonna be? I've seen the videos of you guys.
He looks so unimpressed.
yeah.
He's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she's fucking over it. She's like, she loves the attention, but she doesn't like to be held for very long, even though she keeps jumping up onto my lap. So she like clearly wants some attention, but then she's like, no, don't touch me. It's like, bitch, you came to me. So like, but yeah, I guess
Nice.
Motley is doing other Motley things. So Nyx keeps making her presence known. But yeah, so it's definitely going to be a good one. It's definitely going to be a fun one. And it's, as always, definitely going to be a busy one for TMS. And we really appreciate you guys always rocking out with us and showing, again, so much love and support. So we apologize for not having Lonnie for you this evening. But I mean, hey, it's rock and roll. It's all good. He's our homie. He's been on the show. We know we'll get him again. You know, there's any number of things could have gotten in the way. So it's super duper all good and no worries there. But we appreciate you guys hanging out. You know, Jackson, Jules, you guys all fantastic. We really appreciate you guys kicking it. Brian, we love you, bro. Thank you for supporting every week, man. You're the awesome. And thank you for all of our Chili Willy Frozen logos, man.
Yeah, those are pretty rad, right?
Super duper cool for sure. I already posted mine on my public image page.
Gotcha.
So super duper
I'm
cool.
slacking.
Sure.
I need to do it.
No worries there, man. But absolutely. So again, Metal Summoners, keep in mind, make sure that you guys are following and subscribing and liking to the Metal Summit on Facebook and YouTube, because that's where you watch the interviews at. So those are always where you want to make sure that you hitting the notification bell and subscribing to those pages. Also follow us on Instagram, because that's where all of our guest announcements go on, as well as whenever we're doing events and things like that. They're always on those pages as well. You can follow Psycho Steve at psychostevpresents.com. You can also find him on said Instagram on The Real Psycho Steve. You can find Angel at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram, as well as his Facebook page as well. And there's also maybe not some type of adulterish type sites you might be able to find him on as well.
Yeah, you'll find me at Exotica in Minnesota.
Boom.
Let you guys know when, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna venture out there and
Yeah.
hang out.
Are you really?
Pastor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Look at
Absolutely.
you, the porn star.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Definitely going to go out there.
So tell me if you heard this joke. There's a porn star, a vampire, and a psycho going to a bar. I'm kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yes, there is. I cannot confirm or deny.
No,
That's pretty rad.
absolutely.
Nice.
For sure.
Porn.
And you can and of course you can find me on Instagram at salem.vampire. I'm under that moniker as well. I also do have a personal page, and you can find me on OnlyFangs as well. So that's going to be it for us this evening there, friends. We really appreciate you guys. Metal Summoners, take care. Be good to each other. We got a guest announcement coming out over the weekend for next week's episode, and we will see you guys in a week, and we'll have some more fun. Appreciate you guys. As always, take care. Be good to each other. Get out there and support music, and keep listening to music as well. We'll see you soon. As always, you've been watching